Good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Man, where did this year go, people? Oy vey. My name is Hammer. I'm the founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook and on YouTube, talking about what's going on with the mortgage markets, rate and pricing and all that good stuff. If you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, do me a favor, go ahead and give me a hashtag replay. The replay numbers seem to be down quite a bit. I think it's because the show's gotten a little long. So I'm not really too worried about replays, but I noticed that there's a lot less people watching the replay. If you're here this morning, say good morning. If you would like a reminder that I'm going live, you wanted to quick come to your cell phone, let you know that I'm here, you can go ahead and sign up for that, hmmr.io/reminder. That just lets you go ahead and put in your cell phone number. I promise not to drunk text you at 3 in the morning. Just looking for letting you know that we're going live. So we don't have any nefarious purpose with that or nothing that happens with that. Don't forget, if you're on Facebook, smash that like button, tag an hello friend. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. Try to comment if you can. I know some of you on your phone, YouTube doesn't make it easy to do that. So, but your comments and engagement help us to keep the algorithm happy and get the show in front of more people. Hammer Live, as I'm calling it this morning. So anyway, today we are talking about what you see down at the bottom there. Bear with me a minute. This is a gross part. That's right. You know what? All right. Ready to roll now. So today we're going to talk about the GDP. Final Q2 GDP numbers came out. Also, jobless claims came out this morning. They're really not helping us. I'll show you a little bit more about that. We're going to talk about the market apathy surrounding talk of the government shutdown, unless you're one of the people that might get fired. We'll talk about that a little bit too. And Fed rate cuts. The doubts are quietly starting to slip in, and that's a bad sign for mortgage rates. So we'll talk about why and what that actually means. Let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks before we get started and jump in. Megan Bissell, the first one on this morning. Good morning, Megan. Thank you. Or at least the first one to say hello this morning. Michael Love, good morning, sir. Holly Johnson, great to see you. Charlie Badita, haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Good to have you here. Almir Krivdik, good morning. Sean Segaloff, what's up, my friend? Sean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that shirt out to you, but I'm going to try. I don't leave the house as often as I used to, so but I have to go out today, so I will try to get that dropped off at UPS or the post office. But I appreciate your offer either way. Thomas Sloan, good morning. Crystal Turbin, good morning. Angela Walters, great to see you. Mike Morano, link for your website hosting. Okay. Originator Success. Here you go. So where is Originator Success? Where's Originator Success? Here it is. So yeah, there you go, Mike Morano. Originatorssuccess.com. The website platform that we have, freaking stoked about it, dude. What we've built and the results that we're starting to see on those already starting to come in. So, but there you go. And let's see who else we got this morning. Amy Blauser, Rob Smith, great to have you here. Courtney Ferrier Jr. And yes, funnels are dead, dude. I'll tell you, but that's not for this forum. But yeah, I'll definitely be talking about that online. Vicky McSweeney, do you think it's because you have more live? It might be. It might be. I mean, we get about 50 or 60 live according to the digits. Good morning, Ron Siegel. Today is National Lobster Day. Also National Quesadilla Day. How about a lobster quesadilla? Let's throw that up for the question of the day. What do you think, y'all? Would you rather have a lobster tail or a quesadilla? Are we going lobster or quesadilla? Lobster or quesadilla? I am going with a quesadilla. I like a good chicken or steak quesadilla. I think I spelled quesadilla wrong there. There's no E. Let me get that E in there. E. There we go. All right. I am going with quesadilla. But y'all let me know your comments, and we'll come back to that. Max Franks, good to see you. Deb Dickinson, Brandy Brickler, Amanda Collin, Yasmin Martin, Bill Stevens. Great to have all of you here. So you guys answer that question. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let's get into the good stuff here, and we'll bounce around a little bit. So let me grab my captions. All right. Okay. So what happened yesterday? Let me pull up the sheet and we'll go over that. So here you go. All right. So if we take a look here at what happened yesterday, let me zoom in. Bonds were basically flat on the day. Presentify. Okay, there we go. Pricing came out right here. We ended the day right here. I mean, it is just the tiniest bit lower, as you could see here, but it was only a couple of basis points. So it was basically just nothing on the day. Bonds are flat on the day, no reprices, nothing to worry about here. However, let's go ahead and take a look. Rate sheets this morning are going to be worse. And there you go. This morning, we are not getting any help. Take a look here. Bonds ended the day yesterday here. You can see the dotted line and started the day a little bit lower, right? So in the red. However, they were coming back up. I mean, look at this, really no difference. And then boom, GDP data came in and the final numbers were much higher than the revised numbers. This is for second quarter GDP and then jobless claims. And you could see that bonds came all the way down and they have recovered a little bit. I mean, we got a little bit of the green back, but we're still down on the day. If you take a look here, mortgage-backed securities down about 14 basis points on the day. That is about what I would expect. I said yesterday in our text alerts that it was pretty likely we were going to see bonds drift lower this morning. So even without the reaction that we got here to that data, you're going to see that. So that means rate sheet's going to be a little bit worse. They've been running flat. You can see here, 6.35, 6.37. We've really been running flat all week. Going to lose a little bit of ground. You'll see them go up to like 6.39, 6.40 today is what you're going to see. So that is well off of the best levels. Remember, we had that one-day unicorn of 6.13, which I really didn't understand why we'd even seen that. Bonds didn't really go for that, but I would say 6.25 is what I'm going to pull that off. We're about an eighth of a point higher these days than where we were. So not the best thing. Reprice risk on the day is low. Bonds are already down on the day. It's unlikely they're going to drift much lower. I don't have many concerns about a big sell-off. I think we're going to stay right around that, under that minus 20 basis points area here. Take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield, though. Look at this. We're definitely, again, when you see on the yield, when the yield goes up, that's bad. We don't want to see that, unfortunately. And you can see we started down here, and it's just really worked its way up. It's broken through the blue line, which is a 25-day moving average. Today we are starting above that, broken above that already. I think we'll stay above that. Arguably, we could improve a little bit, get back below that. That 25-day moving average today is at 4.15. So we could kind of squeeze below it, but even if we do, it's temporary. We're going to go back above it. I think we'll be testing this red line, the 50-day moving average. I think we'll be testing that at no time, and that's going to be around by the time we get there to test it, it'll be around 4.22. It's a little higher than that right now. It's 4.24, but we'll be testing it around 4.22, and I think we're going to see there altogether. So notice I was hoping after the Fed meeting we would get in the threes. Instead, we're back, in the not mid, but low end fours here, but way off of the 414s. I think we'll be in the 420s. I think rates are going to continue to creep higher, y'all. I am in a locking stance. There we go. Okay. I'll put the lock advice down at the bottom. Let me see if I have any here. I would be locking almost anything at this point. I just think rates are going to continue to creep worse, the outlook. I think rates are going to continue to slowly creep higher from here. We get BLS jobs data next week. I know sometimes I write down October 5th because I don't know. I don't pay attention. It's October 3rd. But I don't have any hope whatsoever that that's really going to help us much. So let's go ahead and hit some of the headlines and some of the things that I said we were going to talk about this morning. Remember, what I said we were going to talk about was, if we go back up here, GDP and jobless claims are not helping us this morning. So let's go ahead and let's talk about that one first and kind of hit that headline. I'll show you the screen here. All right. So taking a look here, you've got initial jobless claims dropping to the lowest level since July. That does not signal weak labor market. And remember, these are this is a weekly survey, so but it's been that way for quite a while now, where it's kind of been coming in better than expected. Initial applications for jobless benefits fell to the lowest since mid-July, underscoring companies remain reticent to lay off workers, meaning that's when you see unemployment go up, because when people are laid off, then they get unemployment. So companies are not hiring, but they're also not laying anybody off, and that's not a super weak market, arguably. Now, I know there's a lot of reasons we could dig deeper and definitely see that there is labor market weakness, but right now it's kind of showing flat. So new claims decreased by 14,000 to 218,000. Expectations were for 233,000, and the continued claims, right? Continued claims that gauge, kind of more of that fell, and that's what you have to pay attention to as well. They fell to 237,500. If this were rising, more people are on unemployment payroll, but on the rolls, but this is falling, so that's a big deal. Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell pointed to growing concerns about the labor market as why officials lowered borrowing costs for the first time. But remember something: when we got that rate cut, they said it was a risk management cut. All right. And expectations of future rate cuts are starting to come down. And take a look at this. Now, again, mortgage rates are not controlled by the Fed funds rate. However, when you do see the Fed funds rate going down, it's representative of a bigger picture, and all of the same things are going on. So the idea right now, a month ago, it was much higher that we would have one rate cut by next meeting, right? And then after we got our rate cut, this is a week ago. This is yesterday. So a week ago, the expectations were very high that we would get continued cuts. You can see those right here last week and yesterday. But take a look at what's happened this morning. Look at this missing section right here, right? So you've got this section, which is where this would be another cut for next month. And now you've got that extra section right here. And that's where it's showing up, is right here. And this is where we're at right now. So there's expectations of no rate cut are starting to creep up, and it's about 16%. You're going to continue to see this number grow. And as this column grows, you're going to see that rate sheets are going to worsen, not necessarily cause and effect, but it's going to happen at the same time. You're going to see that same behavior. When we look at markets pricing in the idea of a December cut for 2 cuts for the year, remember, we were at a big expectation a week ago was that we were going to be at 2 cuts. It would be at 3.5 to 3.75, be 3 cuts for the year. Yesterday, that went from 82 to 73. Now it's down to 61. You're talking a 20% drop here, a 20% drop here in expectations. Markets are starting to doubt. Doubt is creeping in. Markets are starting to doubt that we're going to get 2 more Fed rate cuts this year. And Fed speaker is going to be out there continuing to beat the drum that they don't think that they need it. And as we see this happen, that's going to you're going to see rate sheets kind of worsen. Now, it's a little opposite what you would think should happen, arguably, because if the Fed is not cutting rates, then inflation, it should be, pushing down inflation, which is part of what is the reason why bonds worsen. So there's all these different variables that come into play, and you're like, well, hey, if the Fed's not cutting rates, that should actually be better for mortgage rates in a way, but it isn't. So keep that in mind. Ron Siegel showed durable goods had a big jump from 2.8 minus 2.8 to positive 2.9. Durable goods are good for the economy, not for us. Yep, absolutely. Mike Morano booing the data, but it is what it is. Ron Siegel showing continuing claims grew from 1920 to 1926. Previous weeks were 19,020. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So we went over this. Now, government shutdown might show more layoffs next week. Let's talk about that government shutdown a bit. So, what's kind of crazy when we talk about the government shutdown, normally, remember years ago? I mean, I'm talking 10 years ago. Those of you that have been around a long time, like 10 years ago, when we would have a talk about a government shutdown, bonds would benefit from that. Money would go into bonds, mortgage rates would improve a little bit. We saw a lot of concern over the idea of a shutdown, but markets have grown apathetic to it. Business, because it seems like we're always dealing with the threat of a government shutdown. Now, what's different this time around, though, the threat of a government shutdown is that the White House is telling agencies to prepare for job cuts, for firing, if there's a shutdown. And this is considered to be a bargaining chip for between the Republicans and the Democrats. Basically, normally what would happen, normally what would happen during a shutdown is that any non-essential employees are on furlough and they end up with back pay. They get paid for not working. They end up with back pay when they go back to work. This time around, the talk of the town here is that you're going to see firings. The threat of a shutdown, comes basically, and they said, well, we're going to fire people. And then what's his name over there, the speaker for the Democrat side, he's trying to defend on that, saying people would get rehired or that it would get overturned by the courts. But we'll see. So in a typical shutdown, 6 out of 10 federal employees are deemed essential. The rest are non-essential, and they're instructed not to work until funding resumes. They go on furlough. Large-scale mass firing, though, could have a measurable impact on economic growth. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said in a statement the move was an attempted intimidation, which it absolutely is, adding these unnecessary firings will either be overturned in court or the administration will end up hiring the workers back. Just remember, we are all pawns in the game. All just pawns in the game. But none of us that are watching, I'm assuming, have any government jobs because most of you should be originators, right? So, but all just pawns in the game. So, GDP data we talked about, unemployment claims we talked about, this we talked about, and the idea that the Fed cutting rates is starting to dwindle. All of this points to rates going higher, y'all, which is why I have the lock advice up that I have. So, Ron pointed out the only layoff non-essential employees. Why do we have non-essential? Because it's like saying emergency needs versus needs. There's a lot of people that are not essential to the day-to-day running of the government, but are essential to the bigger picture of the government. I'm not essential to my business, Ron. I can take a week off and my company, my products will still run. My team can run everything, but I am essential to the company. They shouldn't just not have me at all. So that's that. I mean, let's be realistic about that. Ron Siegel, the Moran effect will press rates down. He's providing strong economic arguments for his position. I'll have to read more into that because we talked yesterday and I read, the article I shared said his position really wasn't that strong. The lawyers in the Fed will have trouble debating him. They're lawyers, not economists. They're not all lawyers. There's plenty of economists on there, but some of them you would argue are arguing for lower rates. We'll see. I'm the bishop. Yeah, not even. I'm the rook. I got rooked. So, all right, my friends. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks again for joining me. Hopefully that gives you that insight. But again, not looking good for rates, y'all. I think we're going to continue to see them creep up. If we do not get weak enough labor market data next week at the BLS jobs data on Friday, normally we're trying to avoid a strong report. But with this one, if it's not weak enough, it's not going to help rates return and find their way back lower. Even if it is, I don't know how much lower it would go. Best case scenario, it's going to kind of reinvigorate the idea of 2 more cuts this year for the Fed. But that's about the best we're looking to get out of it. It's not going to be a huge thing bringing rates down. So consumers that are waiting, they're going to be put back in the mix, and we'll be watching for the next time rates drop and try to get them again. People that are out house hunting, they're missing that boat, so keep it on there. Ron said, amazing class this week on Grab and Go Social. Just watch the replay. amazing class on creating images. Thank you. I know that Austin does a fantastic job with that. I know he was talking about the Nana Banana thing with Google and everything there. Appreciate the softball there, Ron, for telling people about it. Folks, go check out Grab and Go Social at grabandgosocial.com. If you're an originator and you're looking to get more business from your social media presence, which is, think about it. What are we doing right here, right? If you're looking for help with that and you need content, stuff you can just take and go, as well as coaching and community, go check out grabandgosocial.com. Get signed up for that on a quick price. And anyway, there you go. So, all right, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up today. You guys have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.